So hello YouTube, welcome back to the next part in our series here of restoring this loom. And as you can see, I've gotten the panels completed. Here you can see the original logo, Union Loom Works. I think I mispronounced this in an earlier video. This should be Boonville. I think I pronounced it with an L in there, Boonville. As you can see, I sanded all this down, repainted the hardware, sanded the wire bar, put wax on it to keep it from rusting, got new heddles, hardware, got new screws, got a new hook, resined those in there, epoxied, excuse me, so that those are nice and solid in there. And there's two panels here, is what you're seeing. Okay, both panels looking really sharp. I'm really happy with them. Wife really likes them too. She really liked how the hardware turned out, and so now I get to do all of the hardware. Okay, which is great. It's gonna do really well. It's gonna look really nice when I'm done. I wanted to mention that the finish that I put on this is an oil-based finish. You don't want to put oil and water. Now you can get water-based polyurethanes. If you put a water-based polyurethane on an oil finish, something that had been finished in oil a long time ago, it won't adhere to it very well. It'll fail. I'm about 90% certain that the finish that was on there before was a varnish, an oil-based varnish, and then on top of that it was sitting in a garage where it got like oil and grease on it. So better off to just stick with the oil, and it appears to be working just fine. So that's turned out right. As I was waiting for the oil to finish to dry so I could put on the different coats and flip it over and do those coats, I went ahead and I took apart the rest of the loom. Okay, as you can see here, these are the sides. Okay, and here's the warp. I'm going to be refinishing this next, so stay tuned for that one. And all of the hardware, all of this metal is going to get painted, except for that piece in the back. I'll get more into detail on that later, but what I'm finding is that this loom is actually older than some of the other looms that are out there online. This is not a Union Loom 36, this is an older version of it. So that wiry mess back there, I've got to fix it, but I can't fix it the way Union Loom fixed it. I have to fix it in a different way, and I will figure that out and explain it more as we go. So stay tuned for the next completed set series, which will be the warp, and then I think from after the warp we're going to move on to not sure what they call this, that gear and this spindle and some of these other just solid pieces. We'll be working on that so that we can reassemble it. I'll do the hardware and I'll get all the sides done, so all the hardware will be done, and then work on the most difficult part. That thing will be one of the last steps that we do. So join us for that. Enjoy the video, and I appreciate your patience. If you have any questions, comments, or flashes of brilliance, please leave them below. I look forward to hearing from you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I appreciate your support. We'll be going over lots of just type of household type projects here on Northern Gardens, and I appreciate your support. It goes a long way to helping keeping this type of content coming to you. Thank you very much. so the panels are mostly done. Okay, as you can see, they came out fairly nicely. Nice new heddles. These cleaned up nicely. I put a coat of wax on them to help let the heddles move and to keep it from rusting again. These got sanded and painted, as well as the hardware here. I'm going to have to go back and do a little bit of touch-up. It got a little scratched as I was reassembling everything. Now the one next step that I have to do is I have to put hooks back in the top. You can see there's a hole here. There's a hole in the top. The top part doesn't get as much stress as the bottom. Now you can see here, see if we can get a look at that. Now those are 3 holes that over the years, those chains just pulled those eyelets right out of there. From the foot treadles, when you push down on it, it yanks this down. And as you can see, this side had, see if we can get a good shot of that, had at least 3 holes, and the other panel's just the same. You know, and especially if a kid comes over, they want to tramp on the pedals, and it's going to really yank down on these. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take and I'm going to fill those with epoxy and put in the new eyelets that I got, that this will help with putting chains on and off. Now the issue with this is when I put these in here with the epoxy, this will not come back out again ever. So if it does break, if it cracks the wood, I can just replace the wood, or I can cut this off and drill a new hole and put in a new hook. So we'll deal with that down the road, but for now I think that's a good fix for this. Okay.